Okay. Well, I love the tradition that Jen has started of kicking off the call with a little bit of good energy. And even though she's not on the call tonight, want to give a shout out to Edie, she's been using the products for a while. Just enrolled her first 3 people this week. So she actually enrolled 4, 3 with PAX. So she got double PIV on all of those and is just rocking. So I know she'll probably catch the recording of this. Yay. Spirit fingers for that. Yeah. Like that felt appropriate.
I want you to stand up and do some kind of cheerleading leap or jump, because that's where you're going with that, I feel like.
Yeah, no, like the dog is like laying on my feet now. It just wasn't going to work. But anyone else, who else had some wins this week or something they wanted to celebrate, shout out before we get rolling here?
I have 2 celebrations. One, that Ashley and Bruce picked up their tickets for NYKO.
Oh, yeah.
And then also Mel Toomey, she is not on the call tonight, but she jumped in with her pack, has enrolled 1 person, has had like a million conversations. She's been going live almost every day sharing about her journey. So like just huge props to her for just getting in action and being excited.
Amazing. And then, hey, Chip, so happy you could join us. It's awesome to see your beautiful face. Cool. Well, that is exciting. And what starts to happen as we have like this new energy in the team is, for those of us who've been around for a while, use it as fuel. You know, when there's new energy in the team, especially when new people start enrolling others, it just really brings this good energy, good juju into the team. And that's going to really help with the conversation we will have tonight, which is all around creating more ease around the rank of executive. And I'll have Jen share in a minute. She was sharing a little bit of her takeaway from ICU, and then Ashley too, if you had anything on that specific breakout session that you want to contribute as we move forward. But the rank of executive really is where we all want to set our sights when we start our Isagenix journey. Even though Isagenix gives us this awesome ramp up plan by going consultant, then manager, director, and executive, truly where the compensation plan fully opens up is at the rank of executive. And we want to start to have more conversations around it and make it more of the team culture that is where we are all going. Because I think what can happen is, if you've been in for a while and maybe you haven't reached executive, it kind of becomes this thing that we make out to be way more complicated and way more intimidating than it maybe needs to be. But if we can keep our conversations around it very focused and very intentional around the action steps that lead to it, I do actually think every single person that I'm talking to here, those of you who will watch this recording, it is 100% possible for all of you to have that breakthrough, reach that goal. And that is where things start to get like a whole lot more fun. And, then we'll talk about what happens after that. But I just want to clarify really quickly, because there may be people watching this call who are brand new and don't even know what I'm talking about when I say executive. So executive is a rank within the company, within Isagenix, where it essentially means that you have personally enrolled at least 10 people with Isagenix products, at least 100 BV, and then you've helped those 10 people each enroll 2. So this doesn't necessarily mean you have 10 business builders on your team. It means you've enrolled 10 people who loved Isagenix so much they couldn't shut up about it, or they were so excited to get started that they shared and invited at least 2 people into the journey with them. But I want you to think about it from this standpoint. This is referral marketing and word of mouth marketing at its finest. So one of the ways that I think I sometimes get in my own way is thinking I have to get people to want to share. No. People love to share things that they're passionate about. So how can we clear the path for it to just be super simple for people to share? And we'll get into that in the coming weeks and really go back to some of these basics. But for those of you who are brand new, executive, you've enrolled at least 10 people, 5 on your right, 5 on your left. And each of them has enrolled 2 people. We'll just keep it as simple as that. So tonight, just kind of like we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, I do want to break it down into the mindset, like just a little tune-up for all of us. I actually listened to a podcast I'll share about, got some huge breakthroughs for myself today that I'm going to share. And then also just some action steps, things that maybe you already know to do, maybe you've even done before, but again, go back, see if have we been consistent with these things, and really have this be the year, 2018, be the year of crazy executive breakthroughs. Anyone else on board for that? Okay, cool. So before I dive into that, Jen or Ashley, anything you wanted to share from specifically that breakout session at ISAU that just was an aha or really helped you have a different perspective around this whole executive conversation? I didn't prepare either of you for this, so it's totally fine if you don't have something right there.
Ash, do you want to share or do you want me to say something? Sure. Oh, no, you unmuted yourself. You unmuted yourself. Go.
I did. I've been want to be part of this call if you guys have noticed. So for me, it was really around it's okay to lead with the business. That was sort of one of my big takeaways is, don't be afraid to try to help people with their financial outlooks in life, and, get to manager and do it again, get to manager and do it again, get to manager and do it again. So once you learn the initial behaviors and impact around getting to manager and just repeat, you don't have to recreate the wheel every single time.
That's so good.
Awesome. That's so spot on. And that is so true. And so Kathy Savage led the breakout session. It was phenomenal. For me, it's I had heard the message before, but it actually sunk in this time that we need to very early on be having the conversation with people, even if they just come with the products, and allowing them to classify themselves versus us putting an expectation or thoughts on, oh, well, they're just using the products, or, well, they definitely want the business, right? They definitely want this, they want that. So rather than do that, have that conversation early on, and around whether or not, they are just loving the products and want to just stay there, whether they'd be interested in earning their products for free or introducing that residual income opportunity. But allowing people to kind of pick which category they fall into. And anyone other than the people that are very clear, hey, I only want to use the products, don't talk to me about sharing. That's not that many people that get really hey, don't talk to me about it. But those people, let them feel that way, love on them anyways. But everyone else, there's no reason that we can't want executive for them and paint that picture of what's possible and give them the very simple actions that they can take to get there. I think sometimes if people don't declare themselves as a business builder with some huge, huge dream, we write off whether or not they would be able to or be willing to go to executive. And really, if we can get our mindset in the right place, there's nothing weird or difficult about going to executive. It's completely a mindset thing. So that was, the thing she said, that Kathy had said, is why wouldn't you want to elevate yourself to greatness, and why wouldn't you want to help those around you do the same? Because this lifestyle is sustainable when it is free, right? And that financial piece, that we can create, help people create in their lives is huge. So just that everybody deserves it, unless they say no, 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 then don't count them out and help them do it.
And I think it's important, especially so for those of you who've not yet ever hit executive, it's important to have that mindset from the beginning, because it can be very easy when we're at the beginning stages, we're focused on executive for ourselves, to default to, oh, I just want to get this person a consultant because that benefits me because I'm trying to reach my goal of executive. But why wouldn't we set it up in someone's mind that they could also seriously impact their family's financial well-being and, come along on this journey with us. So for anyone who's watching this, who's, brand new or working toward executive yourself, don't just paint the vision of consultant for people. Don't be afraid to paint the vision of executive and say, hey, I'm working toward this goal myself. Why don't we do it together? This will be fun. So you don't have to be an executive already to then turn around and say, hey, now you go, right? I'm going to help you. It's actually just as powerful for you to say, hey, I'm working on this business goal for myself. I'm really recommitting that this is my goal in 90 days or in whatever, timeline you really see for yourself, but take people along with you. And starting with the people on this call, take each other along for the ride. You don't have to just, be working with Jen and I, Mary and Ashley, if you two really resonate and, you want to just be like, okay, come on, we're going to do this together. That's really where breakthroughs occur that I've seen. So let's dive in just to a couple of things and then I'll have Jen chime in on some of this too. When I think back to that initial breakthrough for myself, what really made the difference? And I seriously came up with just 2 things. So we're going to keep this like legit super simple. And yet this isn't something that's like, oh, I'm going to master this overnight. So wherever you're at, we're going to do a self-assessment, but I really want you to come out of the call tonight. My intention is for you to come out of the call tonight and draw a line in the sand for yourself. And whatever it's going to take for us to support you in having these breakthroughs, legit, like I said, we believe so deeply in each and every one of you. So the first thing is, number 1, and probably the toughest, you have to believe it's possible. Like, easier said than done, right? We have to believe and be able to see that it is possible for ourselves. Now, admittedly, who has struggled a little bit with that in the past? I have. You get that no, or you have someone return product, or you have people ask you the silliest questions like Mary and I have been dealing with this week, want to know every single ingredient before they enroll. You start to encounter some resistance. And where our mind wants to go is like immediately to protection mode and, narrow the vision to what we know we can be successful at. And that is just so limiting, because the truth is any one of you absolutely has it within you to impact 10 lives in that way. Meaning help 10 people get really great nutrition in their bodies and get some money back for sharing with their friends and helping them do the same. So when we think about it at that level, I think it sounds like, yes, that makes sense to me, but believing it in here is something entirely separate. And I think you know what I mean. But I want you to think about something in your life that you know you are capable of. So whether that be your job, like Ashley, if someone brought you an animal that was sick, like you have a certain competence about you that you would be like, okay, yes, like I would know at least the next steps to take. Chip, if I had like a toothache, I could come to you and be like, hey, can you like help me out with this, right? There's things in our life, if you look, the areas of your life that you have some competence around and how you feel in those areas, Mary, you in the gym when you're coaching. Megan, you're like getting this now with coaching little ones, like you're starting to like flex these new muscles, but think about all the work that you did in your corporate job, how you are as a mom, Jen, same thing. There are things in our life where like we are successful at them because we know we have like this mindset that like, I've got this. Versus when we feel the opposite of that, how do we show up? We tend to not have a plan, not move forward, not take the action steps necessary towards it. So it's literally the same thing when we're working toward executive. The mindset that we keep, and really I say keep because it's a continual like day by day, minute by minute thing. Your mindset is going to be paramount, number 1. Now, that doesn't mean you have to wait until you have this mindset of like, I got this in order to get started. But just what I want you all to be conscious of and checking in on is, where's my belief level at today in this? Now, tying back what I said earlier about the podcast. So I listened to a podcast today, and this is not new information to me. It's something I know so well. I wrote about this concept in my own dang book. But when I heard it today, I was like, oh, this is like so radical to me. I've not been practicing this at all. And it was the concept of being able to, no, it wasn't Richard Blissbrook, my bestie. It was a different podcast. I will share it. He's not my bestie. I don't like him. I don't like him very much, but I like his podcast. So it was the concept of forward vision casting, like the whole idea, whether you want to call it manifestation, visualization, acting as if, but it was using our mind to future cast the outcome that we want. And you guys, I've literally used this in so many different areas of my life. You all probably have too. And, whether it be athletics or again, in your job, but if you right now are not at a place where you're like rock solid, okay, yes, I'm going to figure out how to get to executive. I don't know how. But if your belief is anything less than like, yes, I'm going to do this, that is one of the biggest tools that you have, is utilizing the power of your own mind to plant the evidence that you absolutely are capable of it. Whether that be you picture yourself opening up your back office and seeing a list of 10 consultants listed there. Whether it be the next thing we're going to get to in a minute, mapping it out, drawing it out, and like planning your ideal, first board of executives, your first board of 10, people who are going to link arms with you. Whatever that is, one of the biggest tools we all have available to us, and that literally just like smacked me upside the head today, is to utilize and harness the power of our own mind to be a tool in helping us move forward toward that goal. And what I noticed for myself is like once things start to go kind of well, I forget to keep setting my vision a little bit further and a little bit further. Like I forget to have my vision grow as I cross off, different checkpoints along the journey. So for you all, I just want you to like kind of check in right now and do an assessment. Like, okay, where have I totally been like counting myself out, taking myself out of the game in terms of executive specifically? And maybe you'll see an room for improvement, just like I am, with utilizing the power of that forward. What did she call it? I feel like she called it like future casting in this podcast, which I'll share. And actually like writing out, whether it's like you like to write out affirmations or you do the vision board, but cementing that belief in yourself every single day. That can be used toward executive. It can be also used toward if you're going for like the Dash to Disney trip, you name it, but apply that where you see it's been missing. Because for me, it's been missing everywhere. So that's one thing, mindset wise, believe that you can. And then on the days that you don't, utilize the power of your own mind, which is really freaking powerful, to future cast. I feel like I keep saying it differently every time, but you guys know what I mean. But be able to set that vision and however many times you need to write it out. I am a Crystal executive. I am an executive. I have 10 consultants. I'm so excited to be working with 10 consultants. You might have to write it out thousands of times before it starts to cement, but it will and it can. Okay. So I'll pause there. Any like ahas or, oh my gosh, I totally haven't been utilizing that either. I'm just like tired of hearing my own voice for a sec here. Yeah, Mary.
I'll share just because Jen, you made a funny about Richard Blissbrook, and I know how much you don't like him, Linz. But I noticed that when I'm not doing that type of stuff, when I'm not constantly plugged in, when I'm not like trying to listen to things like podcasts or, I just went through my followers, the people who I follow on Instagram, and I deleted probably 100 people who don't resonate with what I resonate with. And I went and followed people like Hayden and Emily Barbara, like people from Isagenix, to where I know that they're rooting for the same things that I'm rooting for and are doing the same things that I'm doing. So I see it more on a daily basis, whether I'm consciously doing it or not. So I know that when I'm not plugging myself into those things, I can get into a hole. Mm-hmm. So if I'm like consciously taking the dogs for a walk, I don't want to listen to music, the same music that I listen to while I'm at the freaking Cardinals game that comes on the stereo. Like I want to listen to a podcast so I can like hear things that I haven't heard in a while. The same things that you said today, like, oh my God, visualization? What? Is this some new concept? No, it's not, but we tend to forget to do it. And then we like set ourselves back 20 years and stop pushing the car that doesn't have a battery, and that we have to start re-pushing the damn car again.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
Yes.
And again, it's like, it's not like any of this was new information to me. But
it's like you have to be reminded of it. And for the record, yes, Richard Blissbrook, doesn't necessarily resonate, but he brings on such good guests, right? So you can listen to
his podcast. Yes,
you can be on there to get the guests. But yeah, Mary, you're so right with, it's like creating this bubble around you as though you were at an event all the time. I mean, I think that was one of the biggest things that launched me at the beginning, and I still do, is I just, if there's dead air in my life, I fill it with a podcast. But the other thing too, along with kind of that future speaking, future thinking, vision, future casting,
whatever it's called, we're going to make up a different name.
Along with that, it's like you have to make it non-negotiable, because if you don't set a deadline for yourself, whether it's a deadline of the piece of the goal or the whole goal, whatever it is, but if you don't have something that feels like I am doing it by this date, and you talk in certain language around it, it will pass you by in most cases. And that is something I caught myself today. I have a very specific goal that I'm working on, and I was thinking about it, and I was talking to Greg, and I all of a sudden was using language where I had been like, we are doing this, this will happen, we will be there, that kind of language, marking it on the calendar. All of a sudden I was like, well, if this works out, and I was like, whoa, where did that come from?
Whoa.
We were certain on this. So it's like, you have to catch yourself and use, even like honestly at the beginning, sometimes when you set those big goals, it feels almost foolish at moments, right? Like, why am I saying this? Like, I'm not a millionaire. Why am I saying like, oh yeah, when we hit millionaire? So you have to like catch yourself and like just keep saying it anyways in a very certain and future tense, and literally say the words out loud. I think there's a difference between thinking it and saying it, and it feels silly sometimes, but like seriously, like I kind of want us to all take our mute off and just say like, I will be an executive, or I am executive. Like, you have to really just say it over and over, and it will happen. So that would be my 2 cents to add on there, is make it non-negotiable, put a date on the calendar, and see it as like, I am so excited to be celebrating this. Otherwise it's just is very abstract.
Yeah. I love what you said there, like and repeating it until it cements in your mind as a non-negotiable. I wasn't planning to share this, but actually what you said, Jen, it brought it full circle. And then the second thing that I'm going to talk about is actually you'll notice, guys, we spend the most time on mindset on these, because that is everything. And then it's the actions. Once we got the mindset, then the actions, it's like just boom, 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 like do X, Y, Z. So tonight, I just came from, Sunday nights, I have my youth group at church, and literally the whole message tonight with the kids was around the fear of failure. And I feel like that is one of the biggest things. As I've worked with people over the last 8 years, I've worked with a lot of people who set the goal of executive. And time again, when it doesn't happen, those cases where maybe it doesn't, or it doesn't happen by when that person said, there's 2 types of people. There's the people where they say, okay, I set that goal, it didn't happen, the goal doesn't change, I just moved the deadline. And those are the people who will hit it. They always do, because the goal is definitive. The timeline is, it's there to motivate us, but it doesn't mean that I'm a failure if I failed to meet my original deadline, or and I think that's kind of where it tends to get wonky, is we make it very personal when we set a goal and then, we don't reach it, and so I'm kind of saying this more for the benefit of those of us who've been around for a little while. I've set a lot of goals that I haven't reached, and then when I look back, have allowed those times. I'm probably not even that conscious of it, but what I don't realize is starting to happen is, well, maybe I'm not good at this. Maybe I'm not ever going to reach XYZ, place, or maybe I'm not ever going to fulfill that goal of earning this amount of income. I start to allow those seeds of doubt to take root in my mind, kind of like Jen was saying. And I think that's the key, and one of the reasons why these kind of calls and keeping in touch with our squad is so important, because we can't allow that for each other. Like, we really have to be that firm stand for each other's goals, for the visions that we all have for our life, because it's inevitable if we say so. It's a matter of when. And having a goal, and then this is going to now segue into the last piece, which is the action step for this week. Your mind does need a target. It's not as powerful to say, like, I will be executive someday. Like, eventually I will get there. You won't. I'm like, in love, I really want you to know you will not, if it's not a definitive deadline that you are working toward. Your mind needs a target. That is how our brains are wired. Our brains are one of the most powerful tools at our disposal, and our brain needs a target to work toward if we're going to achieve something that is, substantial, which reaching executive in Isagenix land, that's a big deal. It's huge. And so what I realized is, Jen and I agreed to each other. I'm like, I don't know why it looks like we're kissing. We didn't. We agreed. This is agreeing. We are both we're going to be executive again, right? So that was the goal that we set for ourselves. And you know what I realized today? I was not serious about that. You want to know how I knew that? Because until today, preparing for this call, I had not once pulled up one of these. Not once. I had this vision that I was going to create 10 brand new consultants, help, 10 new people on my team, start to get products paid for. Never once did I write out on paper how I was going to get there. And, again, like, this isn't like me beating myself up hour, but do you see what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't that serious about it because I didn't have a plan. So minding our mind is step number one. That's the most important thing we can possibly do, filling our mind with the belief that we can on a daily basis. But then part of helping our mind visualize it and see it as done is using the tools that Isagenix has provided to us, which this little handy dandy piece of paper is gold. And most of you have probably seen it. Those who are brand new, maybe you have not. Where you get a copy of this is on isagenixbusiness.com, and it's under the tools and PDFs little subsection. But what I want to share with you is this was everything to me when I hit executive for the very first time. And we did that in 90 days. Because we didn't actually start our business until 90 days into our, enrolling in Isagenix. And when someone sat us down, they said, you want to build an Isagenix business, get to executive. We didn't know any better, so we just said, okay. And then they told us to print out 2 copies of this. So this is the action step for all of us, myself included, Jen included, if you don't have one, Jen, is to tonight print off 2 copies. The first copy is your vision board. So you want to sit down and you want to fill in your dream team and fill it in with like people you actually know. Don't put like, Oprah and Emily and Hayden Vavra. Like they already have a position in Isagenix and you may not have Oprah's phone number readily available. Unless you do, then go for it. But write out the people that if you think about your team and the community that you are creating within the bigger community of our team culture, who do you want to work with? Who do you want to travel across the country to Isagenix events with? Start to map out the people in your life, the first 10 people that come to mind when you think of that. Or people you would like to connect with that maybe you don't know that well. You can put them on there too. And then if you don't know the 2 people in their life, what I would do is like, say I had my friend, Mary. So I have Mary in here, and maybe I don't necessarily know. I'm like, well, Mary has a business, so I'll put her business owner here. Maybe I don't know his name. I'm just going to put business owner, and then maybe I'll put friend. So even if I don't know the exact person who Mary might enroll, I still fill this in, and I fill in all 10 names and a name below each of their 2 people, even if it's just, oh, well, they probably could share with their mom or a friend or a coworker. And this is powerful because, again, your mind wants a target. It's going to work best with a target. But we also want your mind to know that this is absolutely achievable. So the vision board copy of this, you write out to show your mind what it looks like as a done deal. Does that make sense? And then you keep the other copy where as you actually enroll people and they start to enroll others, you fill in the actual team. So like what I would probably do with this is, let's say like I have a girlfriend enrolled, like Carrie. Let's use Carrie as an example. Maybe she's going to watch this recording. So hi, Carrie. But like Carrie right now is actively sharing. So like I know Carrie will become a consultant. So I could just fill in, she's got at least 2 people that even though they aren't enrolled, I would still write Carrie's name maybe on this box right here. And then maybe there's another friend I'm going to be enrolling in a week or two, Haley. So I've talked to Haley. Haley's open to sharing, so I'm going to put her name here. But I usually just have some fancy way of like color coding it based on, okay, I enrolled this person and they're actively sharing, you know, however you want to do it. But have one where you can actually see your way. You can see who you're actively working with to help them become consultant, and then one that's totally filled out. And that's the one you want to spend time every day, really kind of like whatever it is, like meditating on or, you know, visualizing. You want your mind to see it as done. And then this, the second copy, that's your action plan. So when I look at the two that I'm going to fill out, I go, okay, who do I need to contact today? Or maybe I don't have 10 possible contenders for consultant. Then I know I need to go to work on some new enrollments. So wherever you're at, again, don't allow this to be more evidence for why you cannot. Because I promise, no matter how empty this sheet begins initially, if you continue to be diligent, to look at this daily and use it as your guiding light, I'm getting all philosophical now, but use it as even if you have 5 minutes, what's an action you can take that's going to move something forward on this little game board, then you are going to be moving forward toward your ultimate goal of executive. Any questions about how to use these worksheets or tips of the trade? Jen, if you wanted to throw anything else in there.
No, I would just say I love the idea of having two of them. I hadn't heard that suggestion before, and I hadn't done that before. Like one that is complete and like these are the 10 that I'm visualizing this happening, and then one that's like blank-ish that you're like working as you go. Like, okay, this came through. I enrolled this person. I think it's going to happen. I love the idea of having both of them going. That's awesome.
And then I would say, you know, for yourself, pick a date. Pick a date. I would encourage you to think about a date that makes you a little bit uncomfortable. You know, Jen and I talked about this the other week. You know, Isagenix gives us 6 months, but I think most people do it in about 90 days. It's just whether it's the first 90 days or the last 90 days or 90 days 3 years from now when they just, you know, they're ready. And so just know we are here for you. There is still complete flexibility for you to run your own journey. Like, I really hope you know that this is a place and this is a team where we will meet you right where you are at. And we want to challenge you a little bit because we know what this group of people is capable of, and we want this for you. We want to see each of you living the life that I've talked to most of you about. And it's possible if we get intentional, if we give our mind the first target to work toward, and if we really support each other along the way. Because you will get a lot of no's, you will get a lot of crazy scenarios, but it also can be easy and it can be fun. Easy meaning there can be ease around it, not meaning people will just show up and say, can you please sign me up with 10 President's Packs or value packs? But truly, there can be ease if you believe it to be so, and it can be fun. It can be seriously fun to reach these goals and work toward them together. So any final thoughts? Anyone like already kind of have a date that's like, oh, okay, it's like telling me that my goal is 90 days or my goal is, you know, January 15th, some random date. Anyone? I feel like there's someone on the call who like declared executive by NYKO. I wish I could remember who it was. Ashley?
I was like, is she talking about me? I wonder if she is. Yeah. Jen must be. Yes, absolutely. End of the year executive for sure. I did the math. I was like October, November, it's 90 days about.
Yeah, you know, and it's like then your mind wants to go, oh, but the holidays, like, oh, I'm going to be No, the holidays, people feel like garbage because they're eating all the stuff that comes with the holidays. it's a great time to be sharing with people.
Yeah, nobody write December off. December was one of my biggest months last year. And it was because I don't even remember if I heard it on a podcast or if Lindsay said it to me or whoever was like, most people go into December thinking, oh, it's the holidays. You don't have to do anything. I mean, it's like, Ashley, you joined like right after Thanksgiving, didn't you? And it's like I had a whole wave of people that joined either the week before Thanksgiving or the week after Thanksgiving and then just blew it out through December and into January. So it was, I mean, December is huge because you're social, you're seeing people more, you are experiencing life in a relatable way. Like, oh man, went to that party last night, was so worth it for those cookies, but so glad I can now kind of just like reset a little today. Like sharing your journey is even easier during the holidays, honestly, because there's so much going on. So you can just share about it. But yes. Yeah. Absolutely. I don't know, Mary, you looked a little nervous when Lindsay was like, someone declared a date. So I thought she was calling you out.
No, she wasn't. But I was going to ask her to print out 2 copies for me and bring them to the gym tomorrow.
You got it, girl.
I know y'all are real jealous. Lindsay and I have dates on Monday to work out, so I can ask her for those things. But if y'all want to fly to Phoenix and do it, you could declare that too.
I can mail some to you. For sure.
I want to go to your gym when we're there for NYKO this year, but that's a side note.
Group workout.
I'm down. I'll ride a workout.
I've never done CrossFit. This would be enjoyable.
That's great. No, you'll be good.
I'll fit right in.
Cool. Well, like I said, we are here for you. So wherever you're at in the spectrum, if it makes you hella nervous to even have this conversation, good. Like, I really want you to know that's good because you are showing up here. By the fact that you show up here, it lets me know that you are not the kind of person who wants to live a comfortable life. So let's just be hella uncomfortable together and smash some goals. What do you say? Okay, awesome. Cool. Any final words from you, Jen?
No, I am excited about what is happening in our team. And it's like people have this stirring and you can feel it. And, in case I think Lindsay was really great at the beginning of the call of like kind of outlining here's what executive it is. But if you're watching this call and you're still kind of going, but why is executive so important for me to hit? Definitely reach out and we can really talk through how that can impact you specifically. But everything from, earning additional bonuses and 10% matches and getting bonus pools and all these things are a part of being executive, on top of the fact that, you go executive and you have, first of all, solidified an eat for free situation for yourself, which is awesome. And second of all, you've done more than just like, I impacted one person's life. You have set a pattern and built a skill set where you know how to continue to help people and to support them and create more for them.
Yep. And there's so much more we could say and dive into on that topic, and we definitely will continue to unfold this and really hit home on the basics, because that is really what it takes to reach that goal. But for tonight, I really want everyone to take away that mindset piece, see yourself there, and then get a freaking plan, right? Map it out. And I'm just going to, if obviously you're all watching this, but for those of you who watch it in the recording, take a quick picture once you print off your 2 copies and fill your vision 1 out. Post a picture in the biz group. Let's start some people going, wait, what is that? Huh? And really hold one another accountable to that. So I look forward. I'm going to do that. And then anyone else who's willing to take that challenge on with me, I can't wait to see yours. Okay, cool. Well, have a great rest of your Sunday. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Thanks.